那这样。
把这个往好关掉吧，也不用一直照着。拍凶案现场。
这个凉菜不吃，我放回冰箱了。
整天都用我的老干部杯。果汁混上汽水是什么味道？
爬山，然后他们皮肤癌。
你这叫 research， 原来我现在已经在 record 了，你又要剪，又要增加剪辑师的工作量，好不好？我看一下，调整一下。Okay, go. So now we are going to go on one of the trail. Although I don't remember the name of the trail, I should say I don't know the name of the trail, but it doesn't really matter. It's just so hot. 这还用剪 ？It's fine, it's fine. 不用剪，不用剪。这才叫原生态有可能呢。啊 ，What is that? What is that place over there? 我觉得拍还是要相当依赖 Osmo 的机头。因为我走起路来超晃的了，我走路又不稳。
我走路稳，你以为你人走？
鸡走路不稳，但是鸡头很稳。不然怎么叫鸡头呢？你可以抓一只鸡，绑在你头上，把摄像机放在它的头上，就稳了。人工 Osmo，
可以说，饿了还可以吃，
吓死鸡！我还有车子就开着呢。
可以开车开到那里，然后找地方停下来，这样我估计是可以的。
随便新人，随便嗨一嗨，随便 camping 一下，随便搞点东西出来，随便睡一觉回家。
对呀，说你看那个小花，好，可以看。
我还以为你要跟我说啊，你看那小熊。
熊啊，你看见了，不就看见了呗，你就一直走。
他说我的那个喂喂喂喂喂喂，那个应该拿在手上。
像这么准备冲突的吗？
你挂在脖子上还可以吗？
然后看，它就是松鼠。看见了吗？
来，我给你们看，欣赏一下。
我要在这里弄痒它，我跟你说。
为什么？
哎呀，你不吵到人嘛？
我就弄一下嘛。Just test it, see if it works.
这个视角。
看有可能人会觉得很对。好小声，没电。我们可以看一下有没有收音机，应该是有的。Next， 收音机要怎么开啊？
China's citizen movement, but for months now he's been held in secret detention. The world's Rupa Shenoy had an exclusive conversation with his wife and daughter about what's
In December, attorney Ding Jiaxi was in China having dinner at a friend's home when authorities burst in and arrested them.
They don't know how to react.
Jiaxi's youngest daughter, who goes by Caroline Ding, was a freshman at Tufts University in Massachusetts.
I think they kind of knew that with what he was doing that like something like this was gonna happen.
When he was a college junior in Beijing. Spent days and nights in Tiananmen Square as protesters faced off against troops. But at university, he also met his wife, who goes by Sophie Loa.
I think the story that she used to tell is like it was love at first sight. My dad walked into the room and she was like, that's the one.
They married and had 2 kids. Josh put his activism aside and became a successful business lawyer in Beijing. But around 2010, Sophie says he began reaching out to human rights activists.
So he always had this kind of thinking to bring change to China.
Joshi helped organize the first small meetings of the China Citizens Movement. Members were encouraged to use their rights as a citizen as laid out in China's constitution to advocate for change within the existing political system. Joshi collected 7,000 signatures for a petition that sought to reveal corruption. It called on top officials to disclose their families' finances and assets. Sophie says that's when the government sent plainclothes officers to watch their house.
At that time, I realized our life is very unsafe.
There would just be a police sitting outside of our house. Every day I go to school, I would see him sitting there. I really trusted my dad, and I thought he knew what he was doing, so I didn't think it was that big of a problem.
Her dad, though, knew that it was. Sophie says Jiaxi asked her to leave the country with the kids so they wouldn't get caught up in his battle with the government. Sophie works for a global corporation that was able to relocate her to the U.S. She went to the U.S. Embassy to get a visa.
Then the next day, the policemen come to take him away from our house. And our house is searched everywhere.
Jiaxi was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for his work with the citizens movement. Sophie knew she'd have more freedom to speak outside China, so she and the kids followed through with the plan to settle in the small town of Alfred, New York. Jiaxi sent them letters.
In those days, the letter from him is my nutritious for life, I have to say.
Jiaxi's arrest and jailing was just the beginning of a widespread crackdown that drew international attention. In July 2015, hundreds of human rights lawyers and activists were detained and tortured in China. Still, somehow, in 2016, Jiaxi was released and got a visa to visit his family in the U.S.
I can see that in the 2 months, he did all the chores at home and want to compensate what missing for the family, but I can see that he go back.
Sophie begged him to stay, but Jiaxi said the U.S. was too comfortable and he felt restless. This is what people have a hard time understanding, Sophie says. Why her husband would return to a place that is so dangerous for him.
It's not every people can understand. It took us, the family, also a long time to understand him.
I feel like for him it was never a question of going back or not. It's like, I think it's a path that he has chosen, and I don't think anything can convince him otherwise.
I just feel he was chosen by God to do something for China. So although I feel very painful,
Jiaxi returned to China in 2017 and rejoined the citizens movement. 3 years later, in December, authorities picked him up again. Several of the activists he was arrested with have been released, but not Jiaxi. His lawyer has been denied access to him. Sophie hasn't gotten any letters. They don't know where he's being held.
lack of human rights in China is a threat to the whole international society. This kind of
要是这个有太阳能就很
is
开
a
心，
kind of disease to the whole international world.
就不用讲了。
Sophie says her goal is to free all of those unlawfully detained in China,
破案
including
这
her
个不在
husband.
那，你
She
就
spends
看
hours
就
on
在
the phone at night talking to lawyers and calling Chinese authorities to try and get information. She's reached out to U.S. congressmen,
再加上
senators,
可以
and
装
State
电池
Department for
送。
help, and says they've all been supportive. But the growing divide between the U.S. and China makes Sophie wonder what they
就
can
是
really
特别
do.
有末
Members
末
of their
日
local church in New York made videos
中
to
备。
send a direct message to the Chinese government.
We are very angry in the United States about this.
We're asking you to please follow the rule of law.
Let him speak to his lawyer.
No one should be detained or kept secretly hidden when they have done nothing wrong. This is an absolutely
自学
unacceptable
还是
way
容易
for
进
a
东
government
西
to。treat one of its citizens. Caroline wrote an op-ed about her dad for the tough student newspaper. Unlike her mom and sister, who have green cards, Caroline's a citizen, born when Sophie was a graduate student in the U.S., so she feels safe to speak out. But Caroline doesn't want to express the immense frustration of living a privileged American life while her father likely sits in prison.
If we show our weakness, then the Communist Party is winning in a way because they want to see us really crushed and sad. But I think like the best thing we can do is just enjoy our lives here. Like joy is the ultimate rebellion.
And this is what her dad wanted, for them to be safe, so he could make the choice to fight. For the world, I'm Rupa Shenoy.
In Moscow today, a court sentenced an ex-Marine to 9 years behind bars. Trevor Reed has been found guilty of endangering Russian police. Authorities say last summer he attacked the driver of a police car after being picked up when he was drunk, causing the car to swerve dangerously. But Trevor's father, Joey Reed, questions whether that's what really... Here he is speaking to ABC.
We have traffic video from 4 different cameras on the street that the police officers identified as where it occurred, and it never shows the
他下来就
police
不
car.
走啊，
We felt with
他
that
下来就
evidence
不走啊，
alone, the charges would either be dropped or lowered,
他
but
后面有
they
多
have
上瘾，你知道
refused to
吗？
do that.
Joining me now is former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. Ambassador, what more can you tell us about this case?
Well, it's tragic. Of course, it's awful. I applaud what the current ambassador from the United States to Russia has said about the case, Ambassador Sullivan. He said the